What's up, everybody? This is Josh from Free Indeed, the channel that talks about what a Christ-centered biblical recovery process looks like. And this is the third video of a series that we're doing on the 12 steps of recovery. And this is about steps 4 and 5. We've done a video on step 0, and we have another video on steps 1 through 3. And here we are at steps 4 and 5. So let's get going. So steps 4 and 5 are action steps. This is where the work starts to begin. This is where it goes from thinking about things and processing things to actually putting a pen to paper and start getting stuff out. Okay? So step 4 is this. We made a searching and fearless inventory of ourselves. So what does that mean? Well, it's kind of a fancy sentence there, but really all that means is we're collecting data. We're just writing things down. This is an objective step where we're doing some examination and an analysis. So step 4 is all about the writing, and step 5 is the telling to someone else of what you wrote. So again, these steps kind of are a process that go from by yourself to now you are writing down what you figured out. And then the next step in step 5 is where you're going to actually tell someone, a very important person, not just anybody, what you wrote down. So what's the kind of data that we're looking for? Well, what we're looking for is we're looking for patterns and tendencies, because we are creatures of habit, right? So think of this like a practical inventory. It's a collection of data. The data will be focused on resentments, fears, and harms, okay? This sounds simple, but it's actually, well, it doesn't sound that simple, but it is simple, but it's also really difficult because this data that we're collecting has been hidden for a long time. And it's something that we haven't taken the time to uncover. But if we're at the point now where we're committed to making the decision to work on this stuff in a 12-step process, this is where we need to be. And this is the steps of faith that we're going to take to see real change and progress in our lives. So we need to do some work in step 4. Because until we do something, nothing changes, okay? So how do you do step 4? What does that mean? What do you write down? Well, there's a million different ways you can do step 4. Whatever 12-step process or workbook you are using is going to have its own curriculum on how to do that. There's also some stuff online. There's a lot of different things. But the most important thing about step 4 is, as you're working this with a sponsor, is ask them how they want you to work through step 4, because there's a reason why they're your sponsor. And this should be someone that's already been through the 12 steps, and they're going to have a lot of insight on what they did in step 4 and what worked and what didn't. So listen to your sponsor and ask them. Well, you shouldn't even be asking. They should be telling you how step 4 is going to be done, because there's a lot of different ways. So we have a workbook, and there's a chapter in there for step 4, as there is for every one of them. But there's some questions in there you answer. There's some things you work through, and then there's a lot of other ways. Here's another way you can do it, and this is one of those ones where people that are really serious, or just people that hyperanalyze things and want to be thorough, is write down the names of everyone you've ever known. Start there. Start a piece of paper and write down every person you've ever known, all right? That could be a lot of things. Break it down into segments: childhood, elementary school, church, high school, college, work, etc. Then look at the names and identify anyone on there that you have a resentment, fear, or hurt from or towards, all right? Cross off anyone you don't, all right? Now, the names that are left on the list that have negatively affected you or you've negatively affected, these are the things that you need to be working on, and things that we're going to do. And those are the things that you're going to share with your sponsor, okay? There's also some charts out there that are real fancy, and they're nice, and they're great, and they kind of break down a process of itemizing, so to speak, or auditing resentments, fears, and harms, okay? So a lot of information there. Step 4 devotionals are all going to be in the description. I'm going to list all the stuff that I'm talking about in the notes. Step 5, we're on to step 5. We admitted, so this is the part where we're talking to someone else. We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So step 5 is where we really take some courage. So we talk about in our serenity prayer, I got a serenity prayer bracelet right here, that serenity, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So we need some courage here to step out and to trust the process and to trust the person that we've chosen, that God's chosen for us to work through this together. So this person doesn't have to be your sponsor, but I mean, really, It should be, but it doesn't have to. I just want to put that caveat in there. And this step is the step where James 5:16 supports, that if we confess our sins to one another and pray for one another, we will be healed. So if you want to meditate on that verse before you do step 5, I would highly, highly encourage that. All right, so step 5 is an action step. It is a step that we go to that person and we process through the people, the harms, the traumas, the resentments, all these things. And these are the things that we process with that person, okay? So steps 4 and 5, steps 4 is all about writing down and gathering data, and it's objective step. And then step 5 is where you take that information and you share that with a trusted person that's been chosen for this step for very good reason, okay? Hope that makes sense. A lot of information. I'm going to have all the devotionals and all the stuff that I just talked about in the description, so you can go copy and paste it. You can work on it. You can look at it. You can do all that stuff. But just remember that progress comes through process. All right. So let's get to work. See you later.